England has won the series 1-0, and what a performance by Jimmy Anderson. 600 wickets for him. We spoke about how this could be possible. The 600 milestone could be possible within this series, and that's what we've seen. That wicket number 600 was Pakistan captain Azhar Ali. And this would have been earlier if England had actually caught some of the balls that came towards them. But in any case, congratulations to James Anderson. I think it's been a tremendous career and tremendous performance by him. Pakistan is going to look back at the series as a case of missed opportunities. There were so many moments that they could look back and think that had we done any differently, things could be different today. But that's just how it is. That's just the game. Lots of ifs and buts. That's not the case to be. I've got Monty Panesar here with me. Monty, a series that started off really well. We had a really closely fought encounter which went down to the wire, and then kind of rain played its spoil sport. But in the end, England came out the better team.
Yeah, I think England, showed at the end a bit more fight and that resilience. And I think what really tipped it off was, Zach Crawley's double hundred and that partnership. Pakistan had England on the rails, with 4 down for 100 odd. And then that partnership completely sort of took, the game away from Pakistan. So I think Pakistan have done okay, especially in the Azhar Ali fight back. If the old Pakistan probably would have got bowled out for 50 to 60 overs, but they showed a bit of fight back. But I think there were times throughout this series where Pakistan could have won the series, and they missed some opportunities.
Looking back, I'm sure they're all going to look back at that Old Trafford test and think of it as a test that they really should have won.
Yeah, Pakistan should have won that test match. And I think Josh Butler was on the verge of possibly playing his last innings in an England shirt. But he kind of showed, some fight back. And I think sometimes, when that, look, this could be my last innings, I'll just give it my best. It probably takes the pressure off you as well. So, but what was disappointing was like Yasser Shah, why didn't he like bowl Pakistan to victory? So that's something that I think, he produces magical spells, and he's got a great, record.
But he was brought in late by the captain though, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was, brought late in, by the captain, and it's, to win a test match, you got to, have so many combinations need to go, good for you. The decision making of when you bring the bowlers on, then also, how you kind of like, set the field, what game plans you do. So, yeah, look, Azhar Ali, I think it will learn. I think he'll get better at how to win when they're in a winning position, how to win these games. And that's something that, there's Misbah is there to help him through that. He's got good coaching staff there. So I think overall, Pakistan, with this relatively young team, I think they've done really well, in this test series. There were times where they could have won it, but they just don't know how to win test matches at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's a case of just getting more experience and getting better at what you do. But, individual performances, if we speak about that, Babar Azam, how would you evaluate his performance throughout the series? We saw 60 odd runs from him today, but do you think that he lived up to the hype and expectations that people from England had heard about him?
Well, I think this comparison with Virat Kohli, I think they're like two different batsmen. Virat Kohli's in a league of his own, and I just don't know how people are putting him in the same bracket, with the likes of, Steve Smith, Kane Wilson, Joe Root, Virat Kohli, Babar Azam. I think he's still got a lot to prove yet. I think he can get into these sort of, become one of them sort of, great players. But in Test cricket, he's still got I think he's got, a bit to prove. But what excites me about Babar Azam is going to be the T20s. He's very exciting, and I think he's going to play some amazing innings. And I think that's what everyone's looking forward to in England, not what he's going to do in Test cricket. is actually what he's going to do in white ball cricket.
Hmm. Speaking of, mind you, you talk about Virat Kohli. Actually, he struggled in England. Look at his career, and he's been so magnificent. But these are conditions which have troubled even the greatest of batsmen.
And that's something, we want to see in Babar Azam. We want to see Babar Azam score, test matches away from Pakistan and actually do well. That's how he's going to be judged. He's going to be judged if he can score runs in, test matches, which, conditions are he's not familiar with, and he scores hundreds, then I would definitely say, Babar Azam is in that category, and definitely in white ball cricket, T20 one-dayers. He's one of the top 3 batsmen in the world.
What about Pakistan's bowling? How impressive have they been, or what are the areas of improvement for the bowlers?
Yeah, I think that Pakistani, bowling has been good. When conditions suited them, they swung the ball, they got the ball to seam, and they were a threat. I think it's when the wicket gets flatter and the ball isn't doing as much. How can they get wickets? And I think that's where they need to get better at. That's the areas they will probably weren't as good. They probably need to, I think, learn to maybe seam the ball rather than always looking for swinging conditions. And the other option obviously was, if it isn't swinging, can they get it in and out? So, there's some areas that they can work on. But overall, I think this Pakistan bowling lineup did really well when conditions, favoured, for bowling.
Hmm. And overall, from an England perspective, of course, they've won the series. It's been trying conditions to hold cricket in for both the sides. For us to be even having cricket as a luxury at this point of time, considering there's no other team in the world who's playing any cricket anywhere. So in that sense, it is a remarkable achievement on behalf of both the boards to be even organizing something like this.
Yeah, look, I think it's been a very successful tour, and I think we got to thank actually Pakistan cricket and also the PCB for willing to tour to England, and I'm sure at some point England will return the favour. If in the next couple of years the safety measures are really good, I would like to see a tour happening in Pakistan as soon as possible, because that if England will tour Pakistan, then what will happen? It will give confidence to other nations like Australia, like New Zealand, South Africa, to tour Pakistan. So I think it's vitally important that England tour Pakistan and show that it's a safe place to play, and then it would encourage the other nations to come as well, because Pakistan desperately needs Test cricket, T20 one-day cricket, in Pakistan. We need that. We need cricket in Pakistan, international cricket. So I want England, to lead that.
Do you think that the players will be comfortable in coming? I mean, we've had the likes of Alex Hales and Moeen Ali who have played PSL this year for Pakistan, and that's been completely entirely played in Pakistan. But having a test team over, or a full strength side in, is completely different. But now is the time to actually reciprocate. Everybody talks about that's what you call cricket diplomacy, really, Monty, because Pakistan has come at a time when it's been very tough. Remember, 8 or 9 of their players tested positive for corona, yet the tour went on, and it could have been easily called off at that point. So, yeah, I mean, I'd like to know what the thoughts of the players are, or what they're thinking, because I did hear that there is some chatter going around that they might organize a very short T20 series or something for next year before their official visit in 2022, I think.
Yeah, look, I think, if T20 seems like a sensible option. Pakistan, playing, PSL in Pakistan, they know how the safety measures are, and how to look after the players. So yeah, I think it's only natural to see an England-Pakistan T20 series in Pakistan, and then the England players can get a bit more of familiar of Pakistan sort of security and what is it like touring in Pakistan. So I think, we vitally, need whatever opportunity there is for a nation to tour Pakistan, because there's this taboo of, oh, it's not a safe place to tour, and I don't know if I should go. Will only eradicate from people's thoughts once we have more cricket and international tours being placed, actually scheduled, in Pakistan.
Right. And parting thoughts, Monty, I mean, in terms of how you found the series overall, and, what are the key takeaways for Pakistan? I mean, if you had to pick up one single performer from Pakistan's perspective, because from England's perspective, we've seen some brilliant performances. I mean, Zach Crawley was pretty much out there to be seen. Then we had James Anderson reaching his milestone. We had a couple of other, Chris Wokes and Butler winning it for England in the first test. We've seen that. From Pakistan's perspective, who for you has been the standout performer who would be the biggest positive from the series?
I think for me, it's been Rizwan, Mohammed Rizwan. I think the keeper been brilliant. He's kept better than Joss Butler. And even in the batting, he's faced tough conditions, and he fought it. He fought hard out there. I think he's been a big positive. I think that's something that Pakistan should look to invest in this youngster, and give him opportunity, to play Test cricket for sure, and other forms as well, because he looked like he's up for the fight. And I think it was good to see Azhar Ali at the end. I think he was on knife edge, to be in the Test team, or not to play, or not to be Test captain. And I think that's what I like. That's what I like seeing. Test cricketers when the brink of their Test career, sort of ending. Azhar Ali produced probably the most important century, of his career. So I think that's given him a few more series now. So hopefully he can start building this team. And it's interesting to see, isn't it? When Azhar Ali scores the runs, it gives so much confidence to the rest of the Pakistan team. So it just shows how important it is that Azhar Ali, continues to score runs for Pakistan, because I think they very much rely on him for that confidence. And, Pakistan is always that sort of team. If the big players are performing, then it gives that sort of, faith and confidence that the youngsters can do it. But if the big players are not performing, then the youngsters kind of think, oh, I don't know if I can do it or not, and so important that we get the likes of Babar Azam, Azhar Ali, to actually, continually perform for Pakistan.
Okay, Monty, with that thought, I'm going to call it a night, because it's about 11:30 here while we're actually recording this. But thank you so much for your time over the series, your analysis. I've certainly enjoyed it. I'm sure people have as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on your show.